girlies, and welcome back to the pod. Today we are talking all about how you can become your own best friend / feel comfortable being by yourself. Because obviously over break, you're not seeing friends all the time. Maybe you have to be with family. Maybe you don't really like them. Or maybe just in normal life, like during the school year, it's kind of hard for you to see people, or maybe you don't want to, or maybe that's just not a thing for you. So whatever it is, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Because I think it was Ava Jules was talking about this, and she's a YouTuber, in case you didn't know, and I was like, that is such a good idea. So this is me copying her, but for the idea, not like what everything she said, but shout out her because it was a good idea. Anyway, so this week was my last week of school. I had finals and I only had one, which was nice, but I would say this week was still fairly exhausting. Literally, my environmental science teacher walked up to me in the middle of the exam and she was like, "Are you okay? You look very tired." She's like, "It's been a long week, hasn't it?" I was like, I mean, yeah, it has, yet this has been the only final I had, and just automatically sympathy just gone out the window. I was like, it's fine. It's fine. But everything, I guess, was okay. But I had a lot of friend time this week, which was kind of weird because I feel like I don't normally hang out with people that I go to school with, actually outside of school, that much. But I swear every day this week, except for like 2, I saw someone, or I went to a dinner, or I had like something planned. It was really weird, kind of exhausting, but it was fun seeing people and actually hanging out with some of the people that I genuinely liked. So that was nice. And then on Monday, which was a sad day, I got deferred from a school that I really like, but it's okay because I can still possibly get in regular. I think it's like a lot lower chance though, which is kind of annoying. I probably should have just applied regular. But that was my fault, I guess. It's okay though, because if I don't get in, there are a few other schools that I really like that I'm fairly confident that I can get into. So I think it'll be fine. It'll be okay. At least I'll tell myself that so I feel better. But yeah. And then I also went to my first exercise class ever this week. I went to Cycle Bar. And if you don't know what that is, it's like one of those indoor biking classes, which sounds fun until you get in there. And it's like the hardest thing I've ever done. I got ranked last place out of 34 people. So 34th place out of 34. But I would say that probably because I kind of had to stop doing the exercises because I felt like I was going to vomit. Because she kept making us get up from the bike and kind of bounce up and down, which, as someone who has motion sickness and who doesn't exercise often / ever, that was not good for me. That was not good. So I was kind of dying, and I was sitting next to Hadley the entire time. My friend was there. She was in front of me, but there's a giant mirror on the wall, which why? I don't want to look at myself. And she was just looking at me laughing because I was dying. It was so bad. But now they're going back tomorrow. I was not really invited, which is fine. I don't want to go. I mean, they asked me. They're like, "You don't want to go." And I was like, "You were so right. You guys know me so well. I definitely do not want to go." So now I'm not going, and it's fine because that first class was free. So pretty much nothing wasted except for part of my dignity. That's okay. Literally, the instructor was pregnant and she could do it. She walked up to me and she was like, "Oh, like what's your favorite exercise?" And Hadley was telling her all about the sports she plays, how she works out multiple times a week. And I was like, I don't really work out that much. Said sometimes I do yoga. And she was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Yeah, you'll be fine." No, I was not fine. At least I didn't get an asthma attack though. That's the one thing, because that would have made this like 10 times worse. But other than that, it was okay. And then last night, or not technically last night, but yesterday, it was a lot of a lot of friend time, which was exhausting. I went to the Nutcracker, one of my friends, which was fun. I forgot how long the Nutcracker is. I'm not a big fan of watching ballet in general, but I mean, it was fun just to be at a play or something in person, though it was kind of scary because of like the COVID stuff, but I feel like it was fine. I don't know. We'll say it was fine. And then I went out to dinner with some of my friends, and it was some people I haven't seen in a while, but that was also fun. And then one of my friends, who is the cutest person ever, the one who planned it, I actually have it sitting right here, but she got all of us necklaces, and they each have, I don't know what they're called, like a crystal in them. And she wrote a little note saying why she chose that crystal. She gave each of us the same necklace, but with a different crystal in it. Or I don't know if these are crystals, rocks, gems, I don't know. But mine says, okay, Carmen, for you, I chose Onyx. I don't know if that's how you say that. It's Onyx. Please don't yell at me. I literally don't know. But it's black if you're on video, which, isn't it cool that Spotify has video now, guys? That's super exciting. So you can go on Spotify or YouTube and look. But it's black, and it's kind of a pear shape and with a gold chain. And it says, this stone is about the heart, protection, and strength. Just like Onyx, you have always shown your friends true depth, strength, and protective nature. We love that about you. I hope these qualities follow you. They make you beautiful. With love, your friends. Isn't that cute? I kind of cried about that a little on my way home. But everyone each got a different one. I think one of my friends got moonstone. Someone else got a purple one. Someone else got a red one. And then someone else got a green one. And they all kind of really match people's personalities well. I feel like the black is good for me. But I thought that was so cute. And so if you need friend gift ideas, there you go. Get all your friends one of the crystal things. Even if you're not a big crystal person, I still feel like it would be cute because I'm not a big crystal person. And I love that. I think that's so sweet and thoughtful. So definitely recommend that if you're going to a Christmas party this year. Even if you're not doing it for a bunch of friends, you can just do it for one friend. I think would be really sweet and just show that you put in thought into it, even if you just heard it on my podcast and you're like, yep, doing that. Also, I painted my nails this week because they were looking atrocious. You're definitely not going to be able to see them from here, but I did them. It's nude with baby blue tips, like French tips, I guess. I don't know what those are called, where you usually have the white at the top. Well, instead I did baby blue, and they're super cute, and I'm kind of obsessed with them. And they were really fast to do. So if you want your nails to look very, I guess, professional and like you went to go get them done, but also you don't really have time for that, do this. Or just paint any color on as a tip instead of the white, and it'll look super cute. I did that yesterday because I was procrastinating doing literally everything on my to-do list. The only things I did that were actually on my to-do list were events. I say events like it is a big thing, or actual things I had to go to with friends. That was the only thing I did on my to-do list yesterday. So that was probably not good. I would say break makes me procrastinate a lot more, which usually I don't. Like literally, I don't. And I say that, which is funny because I feel like every week on the podcast, I'm like, I'm recording on the last day possible. Well, funny story, guys, right now. When she's recording literally on Monday. Yep. Okay, it's been a hard week. It's been hard. Sorry for the late upload, I guess. It's fine now. Oh my god. I can't believe I talked about this. Guys, I'm 18. Yep. I'm an adult. Super cool. I guess technically, I literally woke up and I was like, this is the most uneventful thing that has ever happened to me. I was just sitting in my bed and I was like, okay. That's fun, I guess. It was not really a big thing. I thought it would be. I thought I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm 18. Wow, I feel like an adult. No. I mean, I can vote now, but I've been registered to vote for a few months now, so that wasn't really that exciting. And my dad kept talking to us. He was like, you guys can go to real prison now. And Hadley was like, yes. She has this weird dream of wanting to be in jail, which is so strange, but go off, I guess. But yeah, birthday was fun. All my siblings came into town and we went out to a really nice dinner. And then I saw friends the next day. It wasn't really for birthday things. I didn't really do a friend birthday thing, just because I tried to. I really did. Tried to make a reservation. And the hostess was like, no. And my mom just started screaming at her and kind of pulling a Karen, you know. She's like, my baby girl is turning 18 and you don't have any tables? And the lady was like, nope. She was not budging at all. And my mom was pretty much like, F you, and then hung up. But so couldn't really do that. But I mean, it was okay. But this week was so long and exhausting. For the amount of nothing that I did this week besides socialize, I feel like it's kind of embarrassing for how tired I was. But I mean, maybe that's just from being tired from school like all year, which is funny because I feel like I don't do that much in school either. Maybe I just get tired easily.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online counseling service that is affordable and accessible for everyone. It is not a crisis line or self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. Their platform will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can even start communicating in under 48 hours. The counselors are easily accessible and you can send them a message at any time along with scheduling weekly video or phone sessions. If you are someone who has been interested in getting help with depression, anxiety, relationships, trauma, family conflicts, or more, then BetterHelp is a great alternative to traditional offline therapy. BetterHelp is also more affordable and financial aid is available to make their services available to clients worldwide. As always, I want you to start living your best and happiest life, so as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/girlygirl. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/girlygirl.
So today we're talking about how to become your own best friend, which kind of sounds ironic based on everything I talked about this week. This week was me being with other people. So just ignore that, I guess. But I feel like most times when I cannot speak. Most times, generally, in my life, I feel like I am not necessarily hanging out with someone or doing something with another person. And I feel like that's going to be true for most people, because obviously the only person who's really going to be with you your entire life is yourself. I mean, maybe your siblings for most of your life, maybe your parents for a good amount, maybe some friends, but that's usually not always true. Significant other, again, you never know. But the one person who will always be there is yourself. So it's important to have a relationship with yourself, which sounds super stupid, I know, but I think it's really true and important, because if this is the person that you're going to have to be with your entire life, obviously you need to learn how to treat them well and how to get along. Because I know sometimes, for me personally, it can be hard just to sit with myself because I'm annoying, okay? I can be obnoxious. I can be, like, mean, I guess. So you kind of have to deal with yourself and deal with all the annoying things about yourself that other people deal with on a daily, but except you have to deal with them your entire life, which yay for you, because you're awesome and amazing and all the other things. But I think for me, becoming your own best friend is kind of more about how to feel comfortable being alone and being by yourself / kind of doing things by yourself, I think. Because I know when I was younger, by younger, I mean, like, before I could drive. So, like, even freshman and sophomore year, I would feel really anxious about doing anything by myself, about going out by myself, or just the idea of it, because obviously if I couldn't drive, I couldn't really get anywhere by myself. But I would refuse to go anywhere if a friend wasn't going to be there, if my siblings weren't going to be there, and if it was only me and my mom. I was like, no, I'm not going. I can't do this by myself. And I would get really worked up about it and get super anxious about doing anything by myself because I really didn't know how to handle that. I've grown up, having a bunch of siblings, parents living at home. I mean, my siblings go to boarding school, but I still would have them. So it was kind of hard just to be by myself. I feel like if you're an only child, it would be easier because you're like always with yourself and it's you and your parents. But I'm not an only child, so it was a bit difficult for me. And I vividly remember the first time I went out by myself. And even after I got my license, I would be scared to kind of go places by myself if a friend wasn't going, or at my school, you can go out to lunch. And I would be worried about going out to lunch if a friend wasn't going, and I would refuse to go if no one else would go with me, which is silly because obviously I should be able to do stuff by myself, because if I can't, then I'm not going to do anything ever, because obviously my schedule and someone else's schedule isn't always going to be in sync. So that is kind of unrealistic. But the first time that I went out by myself, aka a solo excursion, which I think is a funny way of putting it, I literally went to the pool by myself. I was so scared. I was like shaking, which I feel like is ridiculous because I don't know why I was so nervous. But I went to the pool. I don't remember when this was, but maybe it was this summer, honestly, TBH. It might have been last summer. I don't remember. But I went to the pool and I sat down and I read on my Kindle on my back. Or not on my back. I was like laying on my stomach reading my Kindle because I remember when I left, my back was so burnt and it was peeling, and I was so burnt because obviously I couldn't spray my back because no one else was there, and I wasn't about to ask a random person to do that because that's a little too close and comfy for me. So I said no ma'am to that one. But I was there for maybe 30 or 45 minutes just because it was, one, it was so hot, and two, I was just kind of uncomfortable because I felt like people were looking at me, which they definitely weren't. I was like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. I'm at the pool by myself. Why am I at the pool by myself? Which looking back, I don't know why that would be embarrassing or why I would think that at all, because I was at the pool and I don't think anyone cares. But, knowing me, I didn't realize that, right? But so I left the pool, but after it just made me feel more confident. And so reluctantly, I would do more things by myself, whether it's just like going to Target to pick up a gift, or if it's just going through a drive-through. I was literally scared to go through a drive-through by myself. Yep. Now I can do that. I feel like that one was more due to me driving, because one time I almost hit a brick wall in a drive-through. It was at a McDonald's, and I wasn't really paying attention, but luckily my mom was there because this was when I was learning to drive, / when she put me in the car and said, go. And I was like, you didn't tell me anything, and I'm having to drive your big SUV, but okay. She made me go on the highway and go through a drive-through, and I didn't even know how to do anything, and it was her car, and it was so big, and it was just very overwhelming. But I don't remember where I was getting to. Oh yeah, but I was just really uncomfortable going through drive-thrus, but I kind of got over that. So I think the lesson of this is that if there's something that's uncomfortable for you to do, just keep doing it, because then it'll get better. For me, that was going out by myself, because I feel like whenever I want to be with friends, obviously with friends, you're gonna hang out with them, and that's an important thing about a friendship, is actually seeing the person, doing stuff with them, talking to them. So obviously, if you're trying to be BFFs with yourself or have a good relationship with yourself, you're gonna need to learn how to be with yourself and I guess, hang out. I feel like this sounds so silly, but in my head, it was making sense. When I was thinking about this, I was like, oh my God, makes total sense. I don't, I don't know if it does, but I feel like you get the point. And even if, like, hanging out by yourself means sitting on the couch and watching Netflix, sure, that could be hanging out. Or if you're going to Target or just driving around, or if you can't drive, maybe going outside, walking around your neighborhood, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of things you can do by yourself if you can't drive, kind of blanking. I guess walking around, go on a bike ride. I don't know, paint in your room. I used to be obsessed with painting. Low key was good, but then I kind of stopped because I wasn't good enough where I would be someone who would continue it, you know? But I had an art account. Sorry, this is so sidetracked, but I feel like I just have to talk about this because it's so funny to me. I had an art account on DeviantArt. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. There's this art website where you can post your art, and I was obsessed with My Little Pony things because my neighbor would draw My Little Pony. So I was like, oh my God, I want to be like my neighbor. She's so cool. So I would draw My Little Pony, but then I started doing watercolor and drawing these weird monster girls, kind of like Monster High, but less cute looking. And my literal username was based on the movie Divergent. I don't know if anyone has seen that. It used to be my favorite movie ever. My older sister showed me a picture of me getting the movie for my birthday one year because she was in town the other day. And I literally cried when I got the movie. And I'm not joking. That might have been the best gift I've ever gotten. Ever. And it was a freaking Divergent movie, which is so bad. But my username was something like I love Tobias. It was like Divergent I love Tobias something, which, yeah, for so sexy, right? Love him. But why? Why would I make an account name that? I love how I just couldn't think of anything else. So I was like, yes, we're doing that. We're doing that. Sounds good. But sorry, so sidetracked. I thought that was so funny. So after, I guess, kind of learning how to be by yourself, I think it's important to find things that you actually like to do and push yourself to go out even if no one can go with you. Push yourself to go out even if no one can go with you, and if whether going out means just staying at home and doing something in your room, or if you're biking around a neighborhood, or if you're walking, or if it means like going to Target by yourself, wherever you are in life, or what you can actually do because you can or cannot drive, which I'm realizing could be an issue for the be by yourself thing. But I think you can be your own best friend without actually having to be physically by yourself. Because if you trust yourself enough, if you're honest with yourself, you can be your own best friend while still being with people, while doing things with others. So I think some fun things to do, I guess by yourself, some fun activities that would really be good for you and yourself. See what I'm doing? It's like BFF activities. I think journaling is good, whether you're typing on a random Google Doc, or if you're writing something down in a journal, or if you're recording stuff on your phone, like voice memos. Whatever you want to do, whatever helps. I'm always tempted just to like record me screaming on voice memos, but then I feel like I'd get really embarrassed and look back at it, and that like somehow someone would get my phone, which I don't know how anyone would get my phone and decide, oh, I'm gonna look at voice memos, when literally it's just all my Spanish class recordings, and then it'd be like me screaming. I feel like that would be really funny, but also never happen because I don't know why anyone would do that or want to do that. But yeah, I think why can't I speak today? This is so bad. It's literally 8 a.m. crying. This is so fun. Wow. But I'm literally just forgot what I was saying. Journaling. Yes. I think it's important to somehow journal slash give a place for your thoughts other than being stuck in your head, because once you write something down, it's easy to actually kind of either let go or really understand how you actually feel about something. And also, I think the best part about journaling, my favorite part, is being able to look back at it years later and laughing at yourself for how dramatic you seem over something really stupid. So 10 out of 10 recommend for all those people who listen to, like, read. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was an episode I did last year. It was like reading my 7th grade journal. Yeah, that one hits. Trigger warning, relatable content, right? But so bad, I can't. That journal, I remember writing it and I was like, I feel like this is so stupid and I'm definitely going to make fun of myself later. And then guess what? I did. And I shared it with thousands of people because that's what I'm doing. We're going to share my embarrassment with a bunch of other people because why not? Right? So find things that you like to do and that you can do with yourself. Again, if it's painting, if you want to do some abstract painting, you don't have to be good at art just to paint for fun. You can paint, do some sort of art and craft. I feel like it's always fun to do those meditative journals. I don't think that's what it's called exactly. It's the ones where you color in it. It's like the adult coloring books. I think that's what those called, where they're really intricate designs and you have to color them all in. I used to be obsessed with that. My sister and I would bring a bunch of those to the kitchen table and just color them in on weekends. And it was so fun and relaxing. And I think that's also a good thing, just to kind of sit with your thoughts and think about stuff while also doing something creative, because that can be fun. Or maybe your thing that you like to do is baking. I feel like I always talk about baking, which is so funny because I literally never bake and I'm not good at it, but I like it. And I love watching the Great British Baking Show. So sometimes I pretend like I'm a really good baker and that I could be on one of those shows. But of course I know that would never happen, right? Because I'm me, and every time I try to bake something, it either gets horrifically burnt or doesn't cook at all. And the funniest thing is that I always follow the instructions to a T, exactly what they say. And somehow it gets messed up. And I don't know what I do, but it gets so messed up. One time I made something that was so good and everyone in my family was shocked, because usually people don't eat what I make because it's so bad. But I made it for a class. I think it was last year. I was taking a Moroccan culture class, which is so random. I think that's funny that my school offers that, but it was so random. But I took that and I made a cake. I think it was like an orange cake, and I made it in a bump pan, and I made a really good glaze, and it was so yummy and the best thing I've ever made. And it took so freaking long to make it, and I had to do a video of my process, and that project was so fun. I don't know why. It was so fun, but that cake was so good. That's the only good thing I swear I've ever made. Otherwise, everything else has just been disgusting. But if you like baking, do that. I like baking. I think it can be relaxing. Personally, I prefer watching Bake Off more. But I think baking can be fun. Or if you just want to cook, like make dinner, that's also, I guess, fun. I feel like that one's less fun. But I think baking is good if you want to walk outside, go hiking. Obviously, some of these, if you can't drive, you're kind of limited, but you can definitely walk around your neighborhood or go on a bike ride. I think that's good. During winter, that might be hard though if you live somewhere where it gets cold. But I know where I live, it's been in the 70s in December, and it's usually in the 40s. So I'm assuming where everyone else lives that the weather is also not how it normally is over the winter. So maybe you can go biking and have the best time, or stay in your room, paint, do yoga. I used to be like really good at doing yoga. I would do it every day. That was, I think, maybe 2 years ago now. And I tried getting back into it this year, but it was just honestly so hard for me because I'm so out of shape that it's not good. I mean, obviously I was talking about a 45-minute cycling class that just killed me, and that was embarrassing. And I realized at that class, I was like, oh my God, I am so out of shape. I need to work out. And I know yoga technically isn't really working out, but it's definitely like a strength building thing, and it's good for mindfulness and I guess just thinking stuff, which I really liked about it. But I used to be in good shape, and I used to be able to do stuff. By stuff, I mean, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I will say that walking up steps puts me out of breath, which, especially at school, but I think that is a universal experience where no matter how good of shape you're in, the steps at school can make anyone out of breath. Or at least my school, if you have to walk from the basement all the way upstairs and across the building, it's like I need my inhaler. It's so bad, but that's fine. It's fine, but I definitely probably need to work out more. And yeah. The thing is, I can never motivate myself, and I just really don't like it. But I might try to do one of those dance workouts. Because I used to be really into those and like that, or like the Zumba stuff, but also anything regarding cardio just is not good for me because it makes me feel like I'm gonna vomit. That's why I don't really do it. See, I would lift weights or do just butt stuff. That sounds dirty, but it's not. Like butt workouts, but I don't know. I lack all motivation, and my thought is until I need to work out, I'm not going to. But now I kind of feel like I should be working out. Obviously, not that much, but if I can do it maybe twice a week, maybe that'll be my goal for my solo activity. But who knows? We'll see. And okay, another part of what I was saying like 10 minutes ago, which I totally got sidetracked from that point, but again, what's new? Is to push yourself to go out even if no one can go with you, or to push yourself to do something even if no one will do it with you. So don't hold yourself back just because someone else doesn't want to do it, or just because your schedule doesn't align with someone else's. Don't wait. Just do it. And I think that's one of the big things that I've learned this year is that nobody is going to be on the exact same schedule as me, and the only person who's on the same schedule as me is me. So obviously you're going to have to learn how to do things by yourself and just like go out and be comfortable by yourself and not be scared to do that. I feel like most people might not share my irrational fear of going out by myself, which I feel like that's called something where you're scared to leave your house. But I don't have that, okay? Because I feel fine leaving my house. But my dad always jokes that I have that. And I cannot think of what it's called. But anyways, so irrelevant. So yeah. But I think sometimes it can be hard to push yourself to do something, especially if you've never done it and if it feels uncomfortable or that you're kind of nervous while being somewhere. Because I know I went into Walmart the other day by myself, okay, and that was a scary experience because multiple employees, it was like a group of male employees walked up to me and they were like, hey, how are you? Like, can we help you find anything? I was like, no, please get away. Like, and they were probably just bored and I was probably just overreacting, I guess, but it just felt kind of creepy, like predator vibes. So sometimes going out has not been my favorite thing, especially Walmart. I would say don't go to Walmart by yourself, or at least everyone where I go to, it's very sketchy, especially this one specifically that I went to. My dad always has people who tell him about drug deals going down in that parking lot, which obviously drug deals go down everywhere, But specifically in that parking lot and like going somewhere by yourself, like that is a little scary, especially when you're a teenage girl. But yeah, carry pepper spray or something. Or like your keys and you can hit someone in the eye. I know my driving instructor, cannot remember his name for the life of me, but he told me, like in the middle of a driving lesson, I think I did two driving lessons with him. And then he got cancer, so he had to stop. It was a whole big thing. Feel bad for him. But anyways, so driving instructor, he told me about how one time his daughter was in the mall parking lot trying to get into her car, and some guy had followed her and like gotten in her car with her, but he had always told her daughter, like, if someone's following you and when you're walking in a parking lot in the dark, always carry your keys in your hand so you can like hit someone in the eye if they're being creepy. So that's what she did, and she was able to escape. So now whenever I walk in the parking lot, I hold my keys like that, which I feel like he just made me more scared than I needed to be, but also, of course, it's good to always be prepared. But literally, I was parked downtown the other day because I was going out to a dinner, and this homeless man was biking behind me, and the sidewalk is very wide, but he kept biking directly behind me, and he's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, excuse me." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I moved to the side where I was pretty much like on the road. He's like, "Excuse me." I was like, "Dude, I literally moved." And then he looked at me, and then we made eye contact, and he was like surprised that it was me or something, and he was like, "Oh, like, hey, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Please no, please no." So that was a fun experience. Again, I don't like walking places in the dark by myself, but I feel like that's a rational fear. But you should be able to do stuff by yourself. I feel like I'm really just going against the point that I originally made, but those are just different experiences. I feel like it's important not to go somewhere at nighttime necessarily. Walking on the side of the road by yourself, that's not a good idea. But just going out in the middle of the day, biking around your neighborhood, very wholesome. Baking in your kitchen, watching Bake Off, very wholesome. Going to Target, good stuff. Going to Starbucks, whatever. I feel like I just said the most basic things. And it's funny because I literally never go to Starbucks. But that kind of sounds good. I kind of want to go to Starbucks right now. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. I'm going to Starbucks, guys. Peace out. No, I'm kidding. I'm not leaving yet. But I also think it's important as part of being your own best friend is to stop dealing with your own BS and also other people's BS. Because I feel like, most importantly, dealing with your own BS, it's important not to lie to yourself. Because I know it's easy to think about something and kind of misinterpret it in your head or see something without actually seeing it, or maybe see someone as different than they actually are, like romanticizing things that aren't necessarily true or seeing people differently from they actually are. So be honest with yourself, be honest with your feelings, and even if that's hard, because I know it is, it's much easier to like think something else and to kind of like just avoid that in your head, not really think about it. But as your own best friend, you have to keep your best friend's interests. So you need to be doing what's best for yourself, and that's being honest with yourself and also going with BS of other people. You don't have to deal with other people's BS. If someone's being mean, tell them, or leave the situation or change the conversation. Like if someone's talking about other people and you really aren't comfortable with that, maybe it's one of your friends, you can tell them directly if that's something you feel comfortable to do, or if you don't feel like you could be in that position, maybe because they're one of your good friends and you're worried about what they think, you could try changing the conversation too, or again, leaving the situation. But I definitely feel like you shouldn't just be sitting there, because then you're just letting them say whatever they want, and that's not fair, and no one should have to deal with that. me saying this, well, I literally had to deal with that this week. So know your worth and know that probably a lot of the people that you're friends with right now, you are not going to be friends with in whether you're in middle school, like in high school or in college or after college. So that's what I always try to think. If someone I know is pissing me off or is just being really mean and not someone I want to hang out with, that I just keep thinking I'm not going to have to see them. I just have to get through the year. Like, I can be kind, I'll be nice, but I'm not necessarily going to go out of my way to be with this person or to show them that I'm really into like a friendship, technically, I guess, because I think some things you just kind of grow out of and that you can be done with, and that's totally valid because of course you're allowed to grow out of people. Everyone grows at different rates, so it's not necessarily like the person you're best friends with right now is going to be your best friend later. Maybe they will be, maybe they won't. Maybe you'll be friends, then you won't. Maybe you'll be best friends again. You never know. So keep that in mind. But I definitely think it's important to learn how to be your own best friend. Learn to really appreciate yourself, love yourself. And I want to say that this is hard for a lot of people just because I posted 2 TikToks this week, or I guess recently, technically, on my page. One about positive affirmations and another about your best being enough. And I got a lot of hate comments on both of those videos of people saying, my best will never be enough. You're so wrong. I hate you. I just want to slap this girl. She's so stupid. She's this, she's that, saying all these things. And of course, I'm like patrolling the comments, deleting them, because I have an obscene amount of words in my comment filters, but apparently not enough because I was called a lot of things. But I mean, that's just what you have to deal with if you have a platform. But then there's those other people who really appreciate hearing that. They're like, thank you. You don't know how much I needed this, versus the people who are just trying to spread hate. So I think that just goes to show how some people really struggle showing love to themselves and really appreciating themselves. So honestly, seeing people comment those things, it just kind of made me feel bad for them, because I think that's really sad if you can't just accept something a random stranger is saying, that what you're doing is enough right now, just because you feel so insecure about yourself, or you can't even hear a positive affirmation like I'm worthy or I love myself. And I think that was really sad to see. And of course, it's all these men in the comments just saying nasty things, because that's usually how it goes. And that's how I know that probably being your own best friend is definitely something that's a struggle, especially for someone if you don't feel comfortable with yourself, if you don't feel comfortable with how you are right now. I think that can definitely be a struggle. But again, just letting you know, we all struggle, okay? I struggle. Another person listening to this struggles. Your mom, your best friend, we all do. So know that you're not alone, and that we're all trying to work to better ourselves, and that it'll be okay and you'll be fine. Okay. That's all I got. That's all I got, team. So make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the Girly Girl Podcast. And also leave a review, guys, or a rating. You can now leave ratings on Spotify, which is super exciting, super cool. That's new, I think. And then, of course, on Apple Podcasts, if you're on YouTube, comment, say hey, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.